Namaste everyone. In this video we shall answer a question related to chemistry. This is from the chapter Chemical Reactions and Equations of class 10 CBSE. I've taken this question from a book called as NCERT Exemplar. So this book is one of the recommended books by the CBSE. You will have very good questions, higher order thinking skill questions, application based questions. They are in plenty in this book called NCERT Exemplar. This book can be easily downloaded online from the NCERT website. You will have the questions there. So please look into those questions. You will have this NCERT Exemplar book for science and mathematics. I hope you are liking my videos. I have uploaded videos on my YouTube channel on concepts related to mathematics, physics and chemistry. If you're liking the videos and if you would like to get online tutored by me, I would request you to contact this number 9742774659 through phone call or WhatsApp for getting online tutored for online tuitions for the subjects mathematics, physics and chemistry. Now let's get back to this question. In this question there are two containers that are provided to us. One is made up of copper, another one is made up of aluminum. There are three solutions: the dilute HCl solution, dilute nitric acid solution and water. So the question is, in which of the containers these solutions can be kept, and what is the intention of keeping these solutions? They should be kept as they are. They should not be spoiled by the container due to chemical reaction or by any other reason. So now let's take a copper container first. And let's take the first solution, dilute HCl. Can we store dilute HCl in copper container? We can store dilute HCl in copper container provided there is no chemical reaction between copper and dilute HCl. In fact, there will not be any chemical reaction between copper and dilute HCl. The reaction between copper and dilute HCl is a reaction between a metal and an acid. The reaction between copper and dilute HCl is a reaction between metal and acid. Now, a reaction between a metal and an acid is a kind of a displacement reaction where the metal, which is more reactive than hydrogen, will displace hydrogen from the acid. For that, we just need to check whether copper is more reactive or less reactive than hydrogen. We can take the help of a series called as reactivity series. In this series, or this series is a list of elements in which the elements are arranged in the decreasing order of the reactivity. The most reactive element is placed at the top, whereas the least reactive element is placed at the bottom of this reactivity series. So this is potassium is most reactive, while gold among these elements is the least reactive. So in displacement reaction, a more reactive element will displace less reactive element from its compound. So now how to check whether which element will displace which other element? We just need to look at the reactivity series. The elements which are above a particular element can displace that element. Here the two elements which we must focus on are copper and hydrogen. Let's compare the position of copper and hydrogen. Hydrogen is above copper. That means hydrogen is more reactive than copper, or copper is less reactive than hydrogen. So copper being less reactive than hydrogen cannot displace hydrogen from dilute HCl. So we can say there is no chemical reaction that is taking place between copper and dilute HCl. So dilute HCl can be stored. Dilute HCl can be stored in copper container safely. So now let's take the copper container. Let's take the next solution here, dilute HNO3. Can we store dilute nitric acid in copper container? Nitric acid, unlike the other two commonly used acids, sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid. Unlike these two acids, it's a very good oxidizing agent. It's a strong oxidizing agent. So we have already told, or we have already learned that oxidizing agent is a substance that helps in oxidation. So what will happen if nitric acid is stored in copper? So this nitric acid, if you store in copper, dilute nitric acid, if you store in copper, there will be a chemical reaction between copper and nitric acid. So the chemical reaction takes place like this: copper will react with nitric acid to form copper nitrate plus nitric oxide and water. So these are the products that are formed due to chemical reaction between copper and nitric acid. So how do we balance this? See, balancing of this equation is a bit difficult by using the hit and trial method. There is an alternative method called as abcde method. So using that method, you can easily balance this. So how to balance this particular equation by using abcde method? I have made a video on this. It is available in my YouTube channel. I shall provide a link of this video wherein I have balanced this particular chemical equation by using ABCD method. Please look into that video as well. So it will tell you how you can easily balance this particular chemical equation. Now I would just write the balanced chemical equation directly by writing these numbers here. So if we try to balance this equation in this particular video, it itself will take around 4 to 5 minutes. So for that reason, I would be providing you a link of a video wherein I have balanced this chemical equation by using a method called as ABCD method. Please look into it. Now, so because there is a chemical reaction between the nitric acid and copper, so it is not advisable to store nitric acid or dilute nitric acid in copper container. So what is the conclusion? Dilute nitric acid cannot be stored in copper container as there is a chemical reaction between copper and the nitric acid. Can we store water in copper container? You all know nowadays it is quite common to store copper in copper containers, copper jars or copper cups, or in general any copper container. The very reason is like they say copper ion, copper minerals, copper gets added to water, but water will not be spoiled. The reason is water in any form, in liquid or even in gaseous form or in steam form also, will not react with copper. So water will not be spoiled by storing in copper container, rather it has some health benefits as well. So copper can be safely stored, or rather water can be safely stored in a copper container. So we have seen whether these three solutions can be stored in copper container or not. Dilute HCl, yes, it can be stored in copper container as there is no reaction. Dilute nitric acid, no, it cannot be stored. There is a chemical reaction between nitric acid and copper. Water can be safely stored in copper container. Now there is one more container, that is the container which is made up of aluminium. We'll have to check whether these three substances can be safely stored in aluminium or not. So let's see that. Now we are taking, in the second case, we are taking the aluminium container, and now we'll check whether we can store these solutions or not. Can we store dilute HCl in aluminum container? Aluminium, again you can look at this reactivity series. Position of aluminium is here, position of hydrogen is here. This implies that aluminium is more reactive than hydrogen. Means aluminium can displace hydrogen from the hydrochloric acid. So there is a chemical reaction that is possible. So what happens is aluminium reacts with hydrochloric acid to form aluminium chloride. aluminium chloride. Aluminium is a trivalent metal, so its valence is 3. I'm writing 3 here. This is AlCl3 plus hydrogen. So as you can see, this aluminium has displaced hydrogen from the acid, and we are getting hydrogen gas as one of the products here. Now we need to balance this. This is a simple chemical equation which can be easily balanced by the hit and trial method. So now there are 3 atoms of chlorine here. There is 1 atom of chlorine here, so I'll write 3 here. I'm starting with chlorine because it has the highest number of atoms. Then let's check the hydrogen here. Hydrogen is 2, hydrogen is 3 here. So this is odd number, whereas this is even number. So the balancing process will be easier if the numbers on both the sides are even. So I'll make it even. How to make it even? I'll multiply this by 2, so it becomes 6 here. So there are like 6 into 1. There are 6 hydrogen atoms in the reactant side. There are 2. How to make it 6? I can put a 3 here. So 3 into 2. This will balance the hydrogen. Now what has happened to chlorine now? Chlorine has got imbalanced. Chlorine is 6 in number, 6 into 1. 6 into 1. So this is chlorine is imbalanced. Now this is 3. How to make it 6 here? I can put a 2 over here. So right, by writing 2. So what will happen here? Chlorine gets balanced. But aluminium is imbalanced. Aluminium is 2 in number. Here aluminium it is 1, so I'll write a 2 over here. So now what is the balanced chemical equation? The balanced chemical equation will be 2Al plus 6HCl gives 2AlCl3 plus 3H2. This is the balanced chemical equation. So here there is a reaction between aluminium and hydrochloric acid. So storing hydrochloric acid in aluminium container is not recommended. It is not safe to store hydrochloric acid in aluminium. So hydrochloric acid cannot be stored in aluminium container, or it cannot be kept in aluminium container. Next is next one is storing or keeping the dilute nitric acid in aluminium container. Can we do this? As I said before, nitric acid is a very good oxidizing agent, and it will oxidize aluminium, and therefore what happens is there will be a thin layer of aluminium oxide that gets formed. There is a thin layer of aluminium oxide that gets formed because this nitric acid is a very good oxidizing agent, and it will oxidize aluminium, and this aluminium or aluminium oxide will prevent the reaction of dilute nitric acid, will prevent further reaction of dilute nitric acid with aluminium. So therefore this dilute HNO3 can be safely kept in aluminium container. It can be safely kept in aluminium container because aluminium will get oxidized by this nitric acid, and this thin layer of aluminium oxide will act as a barrier preventing further reaction of aluminium and dilute nitric acid, and the dilute nitric acid can be safely kept in aluminium container. Next thing is can we store water in aluminium container? So aluminium is a reactive metal. Even though it is a reactive metal, it does not react. Aluminium does not react with cold or hot water. But however, aluminium reacts with steam. The gaseous form of water above 100 degrees Celsius. So the reaction between aluminium and steam can be written like this: aluminium with water. Here the water should be in the form of steam. So it forms aluminium oxide along with the formation of hydrogen. Again, this is a simple equation. We can easily balance it. Now I would like to start balancing with oxygen, as it has the highest number of atoms here, 3 here. So here it is 1, so I'll put a 3 here. So this will balance oxygen atoms. Next, hydrogen is 3 into 2, 6 here. It is 2 here. So how to make it 6? I can put a 3 over here. Now hydrogen is also balanced. The element that is yet to be balanced is aluminum. Aluminum is 2 in number here, aluminum is 1 in number here. I'll put a 2 over here. In this way I can balance this chemical equation. Yes, so now the question is, can we keep water in aluminum container? If the water is in the form of cold or hot water, yes, it can be stored. But if the water is in the form of steam, so, and you cannot heat aluminum, I mean, you cannot heat water uh, in aluminum container, because the steam formed during the heating of water may react with aluminum and form this. Okay, and moreover, this could affect the purity of water that is present. And we also know that aluminum poses some health hazards. Storing of food in aluminum containers or aluminum foils is hazardous to the food as well as the health, especially the health. So therefore, it is not recommended to store water in aluminum container. Rather, we have a very good alternative, that is storing water in copper container. So we have answered this question completely. So now we'll summarize this. So dilute HCl and water can be safely stored in copper container, whereas dilute HCl and water are not to be stored in aluminum. They cannot be kept in aluminum container, whereas dilute HNO3 can be kept in aluminum container. So explanation, we have already provided the explanation here. So we have answered this question completely. I hope you have all understood. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like and share. Please do not forget to subscribe. Please do not forget to share these videos. Let these videos reach more number of students and let them get benefited in their board examination preparation. Thank you for watching. Thank you again.